Good evening, everybody. This is Matthew Hinman from EXANTE, and welcome to the webinar. Can you all hear me? Okay, thank you. I'm new to this, so bear with me a little bit and if I make any mistakes. And also use the chat function as I see that you're already using. If you have any questions, we'll preferably deal with them all at the end, but if there's anything as a burning question you need answered, I'll try and keep an eye on it, and we can go from there. So today I'm just giving you an overview of how to log into the platform, how to set it up, how to use some features on it. I think some of you may have already started using the platform and probably have figured most of this out already, but humor me slightly if you wouldn't mind, just to check, and we'll go through everything. So if you could all open the EXANTE app, or if you have the desktop version like I'm showing you today, that would be great. And we'll just start with a login. And whilst you're all getting that up, a little bit about me and EXANTE. I've been at EXANTE for a couple of years now, but I've been in the financial services industry for over 15 years, predominantly on sell side, brokerage houses like EXANTE. But I'm now at EXANTE and very happy to be here. And EXANTE has been going since roughly 2011 in various guises, and has developed into a company with a global offering of multi-asset financial services across the US, Europe, and Asia Pacific regions. Our clients include everyone from individuals trading their own money at home, investment professionals, to brokers, banks, and funds and hedge funds. So we have a very wide variety of clients, and our platform is built to be intuitive for those who aren't looking for the most sophisticated areas. They can still use it, but also built for the funds as well, so they can see the benefits of trading with EXANTE. It's EXANTE's own proprietary software that you're going to use today. We have extensive IT infrastructure. We've got over 400 servers worldwide, IT teams and professionals of over 300, and we have over 400 employees worldwide in 11 different offices, speaking 10 different languages. So I hope everyone's okay so far, and if we can now log into our accounts, please. You may have already done this, but let me go through it with you. You can see that I have a pre-populated password. This is because it's a new account that I'm trying to see the same thing as everybody else here. Most importantly, if you've had trouble logging in, you'll see that there is a live bus and a demo button. And some people keep on trying to log in with the live and say, my password isn't working, can I reset it? Just click on the demo for me, and we log in. What's very useful in this is that it has a tip of the day, and because EXANTE has so many developers, I'm learning things every day as well, because they're not always pre-announced. So I find it extremely useful every time I log in that there's a little tip for me every time I do that. But let's close that for now. And I'm just going to close all these screens that I have here. These are called modules. So we can work with a certain setup, but I just want to show you how to potentially you can build your screen. And it's up to you, and it's a personal thing, I guess, but this is one way that you could potentially do it, and one way that I'm used to doing this. So first of all, we're going to click on the module Instruments. This should, hopefully on your screens as well, bring this item up. Now it's up to you. You can move these modules around by left clicking on where it says Instruments, and then it will show you where you can move the module and the sizing of it. You'll be able to adjust the size of this module in any way you see fit, but for now, that's fine for me. So what I also find important to see would be, let's say, a margin report. Now, we don't want the margin report taking up the whole screen. So let's try and resize it down to here, just so we can keep an eye on it. Okay. Let's now put a chart in place so we can see the price action of the instruments that we either have positions in, trades in, or that we might look to enter a trade on these positions. So if we click on chart, it won't show us anything yet because we haven't put any instruments up there at this time, but let's have that. And let's also put an account summary in. I think that would be helpful. So you can see your cash balance and your open positions. Okay. Just before I move any further, I'm conscious I may be moving a little bit too quickly. Does anyone have any issues? If so, put them into chat, or is everyone following what I'm saying and what I'm doing on the screen? So please feel free to comment in chat if you have anything specific. Okay. So the other thing that you may find, let's just enlarge that screen. Bottom left-hand side, it says demonstration mode. Market is delayed at least 30 minutes. Now, it wouldn't be much of a competition if you could look at another website giving you prices of different types of stocks, and then you could know what they were going to do in the past or the future, should we call it, and then trade with us. So what we've actually done is we've partnered with an exchange to give you real live prices. Normally exchanges charge a huge amount for data because that's their business and that's what they live off, not just the trading side. Some of these exchanges are now making more money out of data provision than they are on the actual trading side of anything. Okay, so let's have a look now also down to the left-hand side. You can see my account number there. This is for my demo account, but what's this? It's showing euros here instead of sterling. So let's fix that first of all. Top right-hand side, let's click onto settings. So here you go with some very basic settings, display currency. Let's go to sterling because I believe that's what everyone is in. And we have 100,000 sterling for the competition. Okay, you can change various other things like the color scheme here, the default action. I like as chart, which means when I double left click on an instrument, for example, it will show me the chart of the instrument. But here you can see click trade, order, and various other options for your double left click. Okay, so we've now successfully changed that to sterling. Once I press OK, it should be reflected in the bottom left-hand side.
Hello.
Which, hello, sorry, how can I help? Okay, I haven't got anything in chat, so please feel free to send me anything that you would need to. So once we've built our screen, let's go through some of the different things that you can do with modules, with charts, and various other functionality that we have. So as you've seen, you can move these modules around, you can resize them, you can create any type of different layout that you would appreciate for yourself. Okay. If we then look in the instruments section, you are restricted on instruments, and this is for the reason that I stated in the beginning. It's so that you can have real-time prices, and obviously that makes it the competition, okay? And why don't we do this? Why don't we bring up a chart? I think everyone has heard of Apple. So if we double click on Apple, because I have the double click functionality stating that it's a chart, then you'll see a chart. What we can do on this chart are various things. Apologies, there's not a huge amount of history here, but it's really for you, once you've entered a trade, you can see how it would move. So if we look at the chart module itself, you can alter the time frames that you're seeing the chart in. And the time frames are reflected in the candles themselves. So these filled in lines, let's call them for now, are known as candlesticks. It's a way to view price action, and it's a way that we can see quite quickly what the trend might be of this particular stock, up, down, sideways, whatever it may be. It's just a nice visual aid, but it also comes along with various other types of indicators and pattern recognition that I'm not going to go into today, but they help achieve predictions on price movements and entry points. So that's what we have there. We have a large list of indicators here as well. These indicators, I'll just bring it back to the main screen. You can add these to the chart. I don't know if any of you will even want to use any of these, but should you want to, you are able to. So we can just try adding. You just double left click on any of these to add them to the charts. Okay. So you don't want to make the chart too busy, I presume, so you can't really see the price action, but some of you may be using this type of functionality. These are fairly self-explanatory. It's it's really a case of spending some time yourselves and seeing if you want to put on the chart various different indicators, but also you can change the scale. Instead of a price scale on the right hand side, you can see pressing the percentage button will show you a percentage move as opposed to a price move. So that's a fairly useful tool. What you can also do is you can add another instrument to the chart, and that can show you how one is performing against the other. So for example, if you are looking at, and we won't go into it too much, but if you're looking at two companies in the same sector, for example, and one is outperforming in the sector relative to the other, but you want to see how far apart they are, you may want to buy one and sell the other, for example, then you can see graphically how that could take place. So we won't go into that too much now, but that button will allow you to drag an additional instrument there and add it to the chart, and you can see they're very different prices, these two stocks. So we would create a new axis, which you will now see on the left hand side, but you can see the price action relative to one another. Okay, is everyone happy with the charts? Sorry, let me take a question, Harun. So the reason the data doesn't go far back, and apologies for this, is because it's a fairly new exchange, and we will be providing historical data at a later point, but unfortunately on this occasion there is no historical data, but you can obviously use other resources out there in order to have your price analysis and use these charts to monitor your positions as well. So once you do a trade, you will actually be able to see the trade on the chart in real time as well. But I think many of you have probably already done this, but I can't say for sure. Okay, let's look at the next area, which is click trade. So we've decided that we like Apple, for example, and we like Apple to go higher. So what we would do is we would highlight it with one left click and then right click, and that will bring up all these different type of options for you. So as the double left click automatically brings me up a chart for that instrument, the right click gives you more options of what you actually want to see. So let's do click trade. Click trade is designed as something that is a click, so as quick as possible. And this is really for orders or market orders that are very close to the price. So you haven't got too much time to input lots of different things, but let's input the few things that we need to on this particular one. So if we put in, well, let's not do that. That's a few too many. But let's put in 500 shares for now. And you'll see, because we'd like this to go higher, we're going to press on the buy market button. So you see that the trade has now been executed. And you can now see, if we go to open positions at the top, that you'll be able to see that trade in there now as well. Okay. So if we're all happy with just a market buy, the market works in two ways. So we can either do what's called, sorry, bear with me 1 second. I have a question here. Yes, so let's cover how to search for a company very quickly in the instruments section, and I'll come back to the click trade. So if you're looking for, well, whatever it may be, you just should be typing in the first few letters, and see I'm looking for Boeing, and I've only managed to type in B and O, and I can see that Boeing is populated there. So it's fairly intuitive. It doesn't just go for what's called the ticker, which is the 2, 3, or 4 letter symbol next to the instrument itself. You can see BA, 2 letters, is the Boeing company. So the reason that they have these tickers, it's so that you can find things quickly. So if you're a trader on the floor and your client's ringing up and not necessarily using a platform himself and said, I need to trade Boeing, you can't type in Boeing company. And because you've done this hundreds of times, you will know, just type in BA and then it will bring it up for you. Okay. So we can even put that into a new chart as well there. So that's Boeing's chart. Doesn't look very pretty at the moment, but I'm not responsible for the 737 MAX. So if we go back to the click trade ticket, I'm just going to close the open positions now just for a minute, just so we can have a little bit of a better look and enlarge the click trade. So as I was saying, there are two sides to the market. There's a bid price and an offer price. So if you want to try and what we call work an order, then you can input your price at the bid price. So you would join the bid. If you want to try and sell at the offer price, i.e. where you would normally be buying and somebody else is going to buy your position from you, then you would join the offer. And conversely, you have the sell bid and buy offer price as well. Okay, hopefully that covers everything there, but maybe I'll give you a couple of minutes just to catch up and play around, and give you time in the next couple of minutes. I'll just stop talking and input any questions that you may have at this stage, and then we can address them before we move on. Hello, hopefully that's given you a chance to just play around and maybe set your screen in a certain way or practice doing a trade, whatever you may have done. So let's go through the click trade again. I have a question just to give another summary of it. So this is effectively, and I will answer some questions in the next window as well, because that's a little bit more complex, and that's the order window. But for now, we'll just stick with the click trade. The click trade is for when you want to trade quickly. It requires very little information from you to input, which means that, for example, if we wanted to trade Boeing, all we need to do is right click on it, left click for the click trade, and there we have, but we have no offer at this time. So let's look for something else that may be a little bit more liquid, just to give you another example. Let's go to Dropbox. Okay, again, not extremely liquid, but let's try and repeat what we've been doing before. Okay, so what I put there is 500. That is the volume. i.e. the number of shares that we're going to be buying. So if we are just wanting to buy these, we're not that price sensitive, we think it's going to go up now, we will then just buy them straight away. So there you see, we've managed to buy them. Okay, let's take that down. The various other functionalities that are here, I will go through them in more detail on the order, but really for the click trade, if we just concentrate on the fact that you can buy and sell what's called at the market, okay? But it is a direct market access system, which means that you can be the market maker or the bank themselves, whereby you can work an order, and that means put an order into the market to buy at the bid price, as long as someone is willing to sell to you at that price, and put an offer in, which means to sell at the offer price. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit more clear for everyone, but let's move on to order and order types, which is a little more complex. So I hope you're following me when I'm talking about bids and offers, and if not, then you can email where the mass mail came from. And just to introduce her, I apologize, I should have done this at the beginning. The lady who's done all the hard work putting these things together and this competition is Svetlana, who is also on the line, and you can ask any questions to her after the webinar as well. So if you go away and think, I should have asked that question at the time, and you forgot to, which is always the way, then by all means email her, and I will help with any potential difficult questions and answers. Okay, so let's look at this order ticket. So we're still on Dropbox, as you can see by this ticker symbol. And let's look at the different order types that we have. I don't want to get too complex, so if I miss a couple of things out, there's a reason for it. And the reason is that it may be a little bit complex to explain at this point in time. And some of the times these markets don't have all the functionalities that we make available to people through our platform, because anything that's on our platform has to be mirrored by the market. So some markets don't even possess some of the order types that we have. So let's just look at a simple limit order. Now, a limit order means that we will input a price and we are happy to buy or sell at that particular price or better. Okay, and there are potential price improvements on limit orders. You don't necessarily just get what's called your fill or execution at the limit price. You can potentially get even a better price. So if we're working with the second, now this refers to time. How long do we want this order to last? Do we just want to input this order for the day? Or do we want to make it a slightly longer term, because you think that if Dropbox gets to 335, whenever it does it, you're happy to be a buyer of that stock at this particular stage. So you may want to put then a GTC order. GTC order stands for good till cancelled. So it really is as simple as as it sounds. It's going to work in the market until you actually cancel the trade physically yourself. Okay. We have other types of orders here as well, which are to do with time, but also the type of order you want to put in. So an IOC order stands for immediate or cancel. An immediate or cancel is whereby you can have you can input a trade directly, and if only say 300 shares trade at that particular price, then you're executed or filled on 300 shares. but it will cancel the rest of the order because it wasn't filled in the full 500 immediately, so you only got filled in 300 of the shares. So that's up to you if you ever want to use this order type, but it's just a functionality that we offer. If you see overnight when the markets are shut a good research piece on Dropbox and you decide, okay, as soon as the market opens, I want to be buying this stock, then you would use this ATO order, that is at the open. And then lastly, there is an ATC order, and that is at the close. So if you are trying to limit your overnight risk, for example, because markets can move very substantially via their futures overnight. For example, if there is, God forbid, a national disaster or natural disaster of any kind, then this can cause large movements and gaps in stock prices the next day. So you may want to limit your risk and put in an at the close order, which would either be an open or a closing order, but it would be at the close of the market. Okay. Then you have to put in your price because we're working on a limit order, and a limit order needs for you to put the actual price in. So let's put in a price here, 335. And what's this saying to me now? Then it's up to you if you would like to put in a take profit or a stop loss. So TP is for take profit. So far it's off, but what you can do is there input a price. I would suggest that. These two other functionalities are not so useful for stocks, so just stick for a price. If Dropbox or whatever shares we're looking at, they get to, I don't know, for example, they get to 26, then you can have a take profit order there as well. A stop loss is what you're willing to risk in the market. So a stop loss is protection for you. So it means that you've bought something, but you don't necessarily want to sit there watching it all day, but you feel that this share goes higher. However, if it breaks through a particular price level, then you think that it might encourage sellers and cause momentum and cause the stock price to go down. So you could fill in any type of price there, and that would calculate how much you're willing to risk on this particular trade. And as the take profit would show you what you're trying to potentially make on this particular trade. As I said, I'm not going to try and teach you how to trade here, but there is a scenario that everyone should be considering, which is a risk versus reward scenario. So if you're looking at a stop loss, which is 50% of the value of the stock, but you're looking at a take profit, which is 5% away from the price that you've bought it at, that is a bad risk reward ratio. So that's a way to protect yourself and to protect your trades, because it may well be that the stock goes in the direction you're hoping, and then your take profit order will have been hit, and you will have executed the trade and made money on the trade, and you didn't even have to sit in front of the screen at that point in time. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else on here that we might want to have a look at. Obviously, you have the prices here, but if everyone's happy with the order tickets, and I'll give you guys just a minute or two just to play around with the prices and with the take profits and stop losses, and I'll be back to you in a minute or so. Please feel free to put any more questions on the chat, and I will be back in a moment. We have a question, and the question is there any other instruments we can trade? Unfortunately not, and I'll explain why. You may have missed the beginning, and because we are using and partnering with one particular exchange. So it's the Investors Exchange, and this is the universe of everything that you can trade on the Investors Exchange. The reason we're partnering with Investors Exchange because other exchanges charge a very large amount for each person to have access to live data. Even if it's in a demonstration situation, this is their biggest selling point for their own business book, is that they charge people to have access to the live data. So unfortunately, we can't have all the other exchanges in here and all the different instrument types, but it may be something that we'll have a look at in future to provide some other exchanges potentially, and also some different types of products. But for now, all that's available to you are stocks and ETFs. But what I wanted to do is to go and have a look now, if everyone's happy, with the other part to the instruments panel, which is the cash part. Now, this is quite important, and I'll explain why. If you are trading stocks in different currencies and you aren't, your account is not in the same currency, then you will be charged by the broker or by the bank, whoever it may be, an interest charge, because effectively your account is in sterling, but you're buying a share on ETF in dollars. So what that means is that you're effectively borrowing dollars on a margin or leverage basis, and there will be an interest charge for that overnight, every night. So the way that we can avoid this, and something else that in order to get the edge potentially on other people within the competition, you can actually change some of your account into dollars, which means that you won't be affording the overnight interest charges on borrowing the dollars, because you will have dollars in your actual account. So let's have a look at how to do that. And what we're going to look at here is something called the majors. With FX, this really refers to the most traded and the most liquid currencies out there, and all currencies are in pairs because you have to compare one to the other, and that's how you get the price, is the difference between the two. So for example, if we're going to be specific and look at our accounts here, we're going to look at GBP USD, because our account is in sterling GBP, but we may be putting trades in dollars. Then we need to change some of these pounds to dollars. Now, I don't know how it will work at the end of the competition. If you have to change them all back to pounds, I would assume so, but maybe that's a question for Svetlana later on. So we brought up a chart. As always, I've double-clicked on it, and it's pulled me up a chart. So here I can see sterling dollar over here, and I'm just going to hold my left mouse button and drag it across, and there the ticket is now populated with sterling dollar. Now, I don't want to wait and do it at a certain price for now. I just want to change this because I want to avoid the interest charge overnight. So what we'll be looking at is a click trade ticket. So how much of this do I want to do? So let's say that we just want to do 20,000 for now. Okay. And what you'll see below here is the value in dollars. So you can see the price, exactly where the market is trading at this point in time, but then you can also see the value of £20,000 is $25,710 and some decimal points. Okay, so we want to buy dollars, which means that we want to sell pounds. So in this particular case, what we're going to do is we're going to sell at market, otherwise known as hitting the bid. So let's execute that trade. So the trade has been executed at the market price, and we should now see this in our cash balance down here. Perfect. So you can now see that you have a dollar balance. But there's a problem because we haven't changed enough dollars. So you will still see a negative balance there. But if we were to do this on open positions, and let's right click on this particular position, click trade, so we're long, so we want to sell this at market. Okay, so that position is now closed, so we're going to right click and click trade again, and we can't sell that one for now, so we would have to put an offer in there, but this is why it is a demonstration platform and not the real market. But you will now see, if we close the open positions, that you can now see a dollar value there. So what we've done is we've changed enough dollars for now to cover our dollar long position in Apple, but also down here, you can see in the summary that we've actually lost money on Dropbox, unfortunately, but we weren't trying to make money. We were just displaying the instrument for now. And then you can see the daily P&L, and that would be in dollars. And then you can see the daily P&L, and that would be in euros. Okay, that brings me to the end of today. I hope it's given you some insight into how you can do simple orders, click trades, bring up charts, set up your own modular system to your preferences, and I will answer any questions that you may have. And after that, I wish you a very good evening, but I'll leave it a couple of minutes to see any other questions you may have. Since we're not getting any questions through, but some very nice messages, thank you very much. And thank you all for your time as well. And thank you, Svetlana, for organizing this for all of us. And I wish you all a wonderful evening and possibly speak to you in another webinar soon. And the best of luck in your trading in life and in this competition. I hope it goes well. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.